Hi guys, welcome to the first webcast of the week. Today we're going to be talking about muscle. I want to start out by saying that muscle is an organ. Muscle is an organ. And therefore it's going to have the four main types of tissue. So that's going to be muscle tissue. Obviously it's going to be mostly muscle tissue. Connective tissue. Epithelium. Epithelium, you're going to find this in the walls of the blood vessels of muscle tissue. And nerve fibers. Nerve fibers. For the rest of the time, we're going to be using skeletal muscle as an example as we're going through it. And so, for example, with skeletal muscle, tissue, it's going to have 6 general characteristics. 6 general characteristics. It's going to be multinucleated. They're not going to be able to divide after birth. Cannot divide after birth. However, new muscle cells can form from undifferentiated satellite cells. So new muscle cells form from undifferentiated satellite cells. It's striated, vascularized, like I said before, vascularized, and innervated. Those nerve fibers talked about before. And this vascularization is where we're going to find that epithelium. So for the rest of the time here, I'm going to go through a diagram of a muscle. And you can find this, I'm basically just going to copy it straight out of the book from page 242. It's figure 10.1 in the 6th edition. So if you want to follow along with that, if that makes it easier for you. So first, let's just draw this muscle. So we have this muscle coming down here. Okay. So this is a cross-section view, so we're looking up the muscle like this. The first thing I want to point out is that this muscle is actually, it has a connective tissue covering. It's going to be, so we'll say this is muscle, wrapped with, it's called epimysium, epimysium. So what is this? So this mesium, this part is going to refer to muscle. This epi is over. We talked about that before. This means over. So this is over the muscle, or like an overcoat of the muscle. And this is actually going to be a type of dense irregular connective tissue. And then inside of this muscle, when we're looking down the cross section, we're going to see fascicles. What these fascicles are bundles of muscle fibers. So let's draw them in here. It's going to look something like this. Drawing this, there's going to be many more of these, but I'm drawing them bigger so that we can get through this drawing in a reasonable amount of time. And these fascicles are going to be wrapped in another type of connective tissue. They're going to be wrapped in paramecium. And so these are fascicles, wrapped in Paramuseum. So what is that going to mean? Just from the word. So we have the museum, which means muscle, and the peri, which is around. So this is what's covering around the muscle fibers. Around the muscle fibers, paramuseum. I'm sorry, these are around the fascicles. These are around the fascicles, which are bundles of muscle fibers. And this is going to be fibrous connective tissue. Fibrous connective tissue. And so if we zoom in from there, if we take one of these, let's see how much I can keep on here, and we zoom it in, let's grab this guy. So we'll circle right here and zoom in over here on one of these fascicles. What we're going to see then are a bunch of muscle fibers. So we've got muscle fibers. They're going to look something like this. They're going to fill up this whole fascicle. And it fills up the rest. And these muscle fibers are going to be wrapped in endomuseum. Endomuseum. So that's within the muscle fiber. Endo's within, museum, muscle. So we've got epimuseum around the whole muscle, paramuseum around the fascicles, and endomuseum around the muscle fibers. So this is a muscle fiber wrapped in endomuseum, which is, okay, this is loose connective tissue, mostly reticular fibers. Loose connective tissue. And then if we zoom in again, so if we keep zooming in more and more here, grab this guy and zoom in him over here, what we're going to see are many myofibrils within this muscle fiber. So it's going to look similar. I think these ones are going to be more uniform than these ones. And they're going to be tightly packed in there. And these myofibrils are the main units of muscle fibers. Myofibrils. So let's see, these are myofibrils. So myo, muscle, fibrils, fibers. These are the portions of the muscle fibers. Then we're going to zoom in here one more time. I might be able to fit this on the same screen here. And what we're going to see here is we're going to look at a side view of one of these myofibrils. A side view of one of these myofibrils. And let's see if I can fit it right here. So side view of myofibrils. And here what I'm going to document or illustrate, I'm going to have to scroll down here a little bit. There's going to be the main unit of contraction is going to be the sarcomere. The sarcomere, and that's going to be found between these two almost serrated looking lines is a sarcomere. Sarcomere. S-A-R-C-O-M-E-R-E. Sarcomere. And that's what's going to actually contract. That's going to be responsible for the contraction of your muscles. And that is going to be made up of thick and thin filaments. Thick and thin filaments. So the squiggly lines I just drew there are going to be part of the thin filaments. These are thin filaments. I'm drawing in here still. Then you have thick filaments. And these thin and thick filaments are going to work in synchrony in order to contract your muscles. thin filaments, thin filaments, and here I'll show thick filaments. So these are going to be, they're going to look somewhat thinner towards the ends. So I'm going to draw this in here first like this. And they're going to thin up a little bit towards the ends, but they actually do connect all the way over here. Thick filaments. So let's run through this one more time. We've got our big muscle here that's wrapped in our epimysium, which is the overcoat of the muscle. We look inside there and we see these bundles of muscle fibers, which are called fascicles, and they're wrapped in perimysium. The fascicles are wrapped in perimysium, which is fibrous connective tissue. If we look inside a fascicle, we're going to see muscle fibers. Those muscle fibers are wrapped in endomysium, within the muscle. And that's loose connective tissue and mostly reticular fibers. If we looked one more further, we saw all these myofibrils found within the muscle fiber. And they're going to be packed in there rather tightly as well. And then within that, we can see the actual units of contraction. We see the sarcomere, which is actually responsible for the contraction. That's going to be it for today's webcast, and thanks a lot, guys.